The step-by-step guide to updating your Takt plan mid-project. We get asked all the time, how do you update your Takt plan throughout, and how do you do it mid-project? And so this is that video, and I'm going to sketch it on the flip chart behind us. But this is going to cover how the schedule gets, or rather the production plan gets updated, and the rules to follow. If you follow these rules, you will really be set. So I'm very excited about this video. I think you will be too. And let's go ahead and meet back here at the flip chart behind me, because you've come to the right place. All right, so let's get going here. You have always got to update your production plan. There is, oh, let me tell you this right out of the gate. Let's go ahead and make everybody mad. No, actually, hold on. Like the video, please, and subscribe, and then let me make you mad. Okay, so now it's mad time. You've heard a lot about a baseline in construction. So the way a baseline works is it basically sets the target plan, the baseline plan for that project. It says, this is literally what we're going to compare your progress to. Okay? Now, in most applications, there's an activity ID, which basically is the basis, in addition to the activities and the logic ties, for your baseline. To do a baseline comparison and actually use the baseline, you've got to maintain those same activity IDs, the same work breakdown structure, similar logic, and a similar organization. And which means that for the most part, if an owner or an owner's rep or a scheduling third party really wants to stick you to it, they will restrict your ability to modify and update that schedule because they want to compare it. And that's not realistic in construction, because we know that construction is going to change. We know we're going to have impacts, and we know we're going to have to update throughout. So if you update the work breakdown structure, the logic, and you have new activity IDs, or activity IDs change, and maybe even some of the old activities are dissolved, now you don't have a comparison back to the baseline. And so baselines aren't that effective. You can very easily, without a baseline, see where you're trending and really adhere to construction practices. So I just want to make that clear. Sticking with a plan, shoving that plan down people's throats, and being rigid is not how construction works. On a project, you'll always have a master plan, or what we call in the Takt world, a macro level Takt plan. This is on a 5-day Takt time, and it's very high level. It shows the overall interactions with all of the other phases, okay? This is your first production plan, and it's done early on in pre-construction for the purpose of identifying an overall duration, setting milestones, and making sure that we have an accurate budget. So the first time that we update this is when we actually go to do our pull plan. So when we take a milestone and we do our pull plan backwards and forwards, or forwards and back, we are updating that sequence. Let's say this was the sequence and this was the pull plan. We are updating that sequence. So by virtue of doing a pull plan in and of itself, you're already updating your schedule or your production plan. Then this goes into what's called a norm level Takt plan. So let's just take these two as an example. A norm level is your production level Takt plan. So instead of having the typical milestones take as long as they originally showed, they are optimized and they have buffers. And so these are faster. This is your target speed for the overall plan. So this pull plan updated your overall strategic plan. Then what happens is we take a slice of this and we look 6 weeks out, okay, with your 6-week look ahead, and trade partners may move activities here and there based on what they can commit to and based on what they're seeing. From there, you actually take a slice of that, which is your weekly work plan. So I'll just do WWP, and there may be some modifications in here as well. So that's at least 1, 2, and you can combine these if you want, but 1, 2, 3, 4 different times that we are modifying your production plan right from the start. Then this work plan, this weekly work plan, goes out in the field and is implemented. And guess what? Every good superintendent, assistant superintendent, field engineer, foreman have the weekly work plan with them in the field. And as they're seeing and controlling work in the field, they're actually updating this with green check marks or red X's. Then that goes back into your norm level Takt plan, and we update from there. And so this is how you update up into when the work happens, and then based on what is actually happening, that loops back into your norm and it follows the same cycle. Actually, let me draw that with blue because I like that. Once you actually do your updates out in the field, it circles back around, educates the norm, and then the norm it goes to your 6-week look ahead, which goes to your weekly work plan, which then goes out into the field, and then you execute that week's worth of work, and then it comes back around and then follows the same system. So this is a recurring loop here. So that's when it's updated. But when you update, it's crucial that you follow some practices, which I'm going to talk to you about right now. What I want to talk to you about now are some of the options that you have. And I'll just go through these briefly. This is all listed out in the book Takt Planning and in the book Takt Steering and Control. But if you have a delay, one of the things that you can do if you have a delay in an activity, and this is the delay, is you can cascade that delay and eat into a buffer. Okay, that's one thing. Let's say that you have a Takt plan and there's a delay and you're now going to delay subsequent work. Well, this work can be pulled out and detached so that it doesn't affect other work. If you have a delay and this delays the activity, sometimes you can move an activity that is ready in the place of the delay and actually switch that out and change the sequence. Another thing that you can do if you have a delay in the overall progress, right, is you can rezone and basically increase the number of zones to pull in the overall end date. This right here, line of balance delay, this is an isolation delay. This is a sequence delay, and this is a rezoning delay. There's actually a lot more listed in the book Takt Planning and Takt Steering and Control, but these are solid methods that we can use in order to make sure that we're updating our production plan throughout. But let me tell you about the rules right now. Number one, the rules are, and I'm going to use these over here to the right, no matter what you do, always maintain diagonal trade flow. If you have takt time on the top, and these are your zones. This is zone 1 and 2, right? Keep your trades working in a flow from zone to zone to zone. Never stack them on top of each other. Number 2, do not dissolve logic. That means that there's logic from here to here and from here to here. That's how all Takt plans work. People often say to me, you know, hey, why do you like Takt planning? Don't you like the logic that comes from CPM? Well, there's more logic in a Takt plan than actually a CPM schedule. And so don't dissolve any of that logic when you're actually making changes. Number 3, don't shorten duration. So if this right here was literally, a 3.5 day in-zone cycle time, don't just come up to the trade partner and say, screw you, you got to get it done instead of 4 days and you've got to now get it done in 3. Don't do that. Don't shorten durations. Number 4, don't trade stack or burden. If this activity ever moves because of a delay on top, don't stack them on top of each other. This is an impossible situation, right? So this is actually called trade burdening. Too many trades in one area is trade stacking. One trade in too many areas is called trade burdening. So don't do that. Number 5, always work in one piece flow. When we do these wagons or work packages, we plan it, we build it, and we finish it before we move on. Number 6, before we do the work as a part of the planning, we always focus on what's called full kit or full work package planning before it ever starts. Number 7, in a production plan, we always use buffers at the end, and there's nothing wrong with using buffers, but maintaining the right amount of buffers throughout is key. Always have workable backlog, which means that if there is a delay in the train, there is workable backlog somewhere else on the project site where if there's a delay, you can go move to it or pull workers from it to recover that specific delay. Rule number 9, never fix your plan to where it's locked and you can't adjust it. And number 10, always analyze your construction production plans as a path of critical flow, which includes the sequence, the line of balance, and the buffer. So really what you're going to do is make sure that you're analyzing the entire path of critical flow, which again includes the activity, the logic tie, the sequence, the line of balance, and the buffer. Never just go off of a random critical path, which is just random logic through all the activities. So the bottom line is, you have a lot of updating that happens to a production plan up and to the work. You should update your plans in this cycle continuously. There are ways in the book Takt Planning and Takt Steering and Control to actually recover properly as long as you follow the rules that I just talked about. We're going to put this in one of the coolest Canva graphics that you've ever seen, and that will be in the description below. But I hope you've enjoyed this, that you've liked it, that you subscribe, get access to the other content, and that you check out the description below. So I hope you've loved it. On we go.